Hello people on it is I, nerd named BT. Pleasure to be back, but this time in a much newer form, as y'all can possibly see. This is not a finished rigging or model itself, but it is what I have right now and what I've currently really wanted to use. So today everyone, we are talking about the new set, the Galaxy set or KPO9, that just recently came out the past week or so. And I'm here to tell you which cards you might want to look out for the most after experiencing the tournament and previous tournament tops in the last week. So I'm here to tell you what you should be looking out for most in this few coming weeks or for the rest of the format. Anywho, let's get into it. So first up here we have Galactical Oblivion. So basically what Galactical Oblivion is a level 7 normal light galaxy monster. And with that we also have Milky Way Neo, another level 7 galaxy type normal monster. So what's the main thing to point out here is Galactic Oblivion is the first normal monster to have 2500 attack and defense together, while we do have the Legend of Blue Eyes, which is 3000 attack, 2500 defense. It doesn't really match up considering that it is a level 8 though, and a dragon, which is significantly different in some cases, especially since Dragon Gate is a legitimate deck in this format. But this is a much different case since you can play 3 copies of it with 7 treasure, so it is very accessible. But there is another reason I bring up these 2 cards specifically, and that's because of the new spell card that came in the set, Meteor Charge. Basically what it reads is choose one's face-up galaxy type monster on the field. It can inflict piercing damage this turn, and then if you control a normal monster when this card is activated, or you select a normal monster, you can change your opponent's battle position from attack to defense, defense to attack. So what makes this significantly different from most other cards is it's a combination of all the things that make a past Rush Duel deck competitive and very high tiered in ranking. As you all might know from past Rush Duel formats, piercing is a very serious thing when it comes to playing a competitive deck because it can bypass defense position monsters of set 3 pass and continue to deal damage along the game. We've seen this through One Breath Piercing and of course Crank to 10, and along with the most recent format, before Thunderbolt format, Light Machine will Steel Tech Mirror. So of course this is a very huge thing when it comes to the current format because giving a monster piercing damage in a very consistent deck already, being Parallel Gate, is a huge plus, along with the ability to change from attack to defense and defense to attack, which you've seen from staples such as Siesta. So it is a very powerful tech card, and this will be 100% seen in a majority of decks, compared to be playing against Dragon, Parallel Gate, or any other variants. Now of course we have our next one, which is another thing that will be working with the Parallel Gate variant, which is Magical Shape Girl Magejon. And of course it's not as amazing in terms of stats of attack and defense, but there is another reason you want to play it, which is the spell card Meet and Greed. So basically the spell card reads, you can send 2 cards from your hand to grave, try to face a beast normal you control, you can make it 3 attacks on monsters this turn. And if you control Magejon, all effect monsters lose 500 attack. Once again, if you've seen the stream from last week or so, which you don't have to, but if you want to see it, I believe I will have it up later in the week. Or if it is still up on the archive channel, which I'm currently editing right now. This is a very powerful card, though it requires some level of setup and you need a very specific monster to make it work. It can do a lot of damage to your opponent, especially if you summon Magejon off Secret Order. It becomes 3200, and you can cut all of your opponent's effect monsters by 500 attack. This is huge, especially for normal vanilla. You can have up to 5 attacks that turn, which is very rare to see outside of dragon decks. Though this is a very inconsistent strategy, I will say it is something that you want to keep major concern for, because if you don't have anything for it, you will most definitely be in a very bad position if they get this off, especially if they just get off Magejon and use this card, you're in serious trouble. Up next, we're stepping away from Secret Order for a bit onto our some generic effect monsters. Up first we have Black Handshaker, another galaxy type monster, But in this time, it's not really Galaxy support or Secret or Parallel Gate support we're talking about. So you can shuffle one card your opponent's graveyard into the deck, then if you have a level 7 or higher normal monster on the field, you can change them to attack position monster to defense. So of course, you are going to say this is Parallel Gate support, but not really. The reason I bring this up is because of the generic shuffling effect. You can shuffle one card your opponent's graveyard into the deck, and that's it. No cost, no restriction. So what makes this different is something like Whispering Fairy, which you discard one card, shuffle back 2 monsters. This one specifically shuffles back 1 monster or 1 card for free, meaning you can target something like Fusion to cancel your opponent's Star Restart. So it's not as effective for graveyard clearing as Backbeat or any other card like that, but this is a more targeted sort of base thing for decks that don't really mind about your opponent's graveyard being full of cards. So this is a very deadly card, especially if you're playing a lot of 1-ofs in your deck, but you want to have those 1-ofs in grave. This can easily mess your strategy up, or possibly cancel a few other strategies that require you to have a specific name in the graveyard. Lastly, in terms of our monsters, we have a Satellite Pegasus. During the turn, it is normal summoned. You can send the top card of your deck to the grave, and if you have 1 or less monsters in the graveyard, destroy 1 level 8 or lower monster your opponent controls. So this is, of course, going to be the underdog of the set. It's not seen too much play as of recent because not many people are too interested in the card, and of course I can see why, considering that it's a very restrictive card in terms of needing a monster in graveyard to use the effect. But that's, once again, it has the potential to be a very annoying going second card, especially if you're playing a deck which is mostly just a very aggro and summoning a bunch of monsters in the first turn sort of thing, which doesn't happen often. But this has caused a few people to actually start setting their boss monsters or getting monsters with high defense or low defense set on the first turn because of the fear of Satellite Pegasus. And if you're lucky, you can possibly get off 2 satellite effect activations in a turn if you happen to not hit a monster on your mill. So this isn't something that's going to be seen too much competitive play, but it is something to keep in mind if you're going against an opponent who wants to go second. Up next, supporting the going second theme, is Ghost Cyclone. If you have no monsters on your field, destroy 1 spawn trap card in your opponent's field. Then if you have 3 or less monsters in your graveyard, draw 1 card. So as most of you probably know, you've seen this from some of my previous videos, especially in my Maximum Vulcan video. This is an amazing card, especially as an Upstart Goblin. And if you've seen past Yu-Gi-Oh formats, you know that Upstart Goblin is actually really powerful, because having 1 less card in your deck can really make a big difference, especially in how your deck goes about playing. And the fact that it lets you draw 1 card is basically saying that you use this card effect without using the actual card effect you have. You destroy 1 spawn trap card, then you drew 1 card to replace it. So like, unlike every other back row removal card in the game, this one replenishes itself and has no real cost to it. Though having no monsters on board is kind of annoying at times, but if you do get to the point, you can easily use it to recover or gain some additional advantage. But it is something that you will more likely be seeing more often, though you have to wait around for a bit to really let people get in the groove to playing it. So our first card here is our first trap card, which is Demolition Worm Roar. When your opponent normal summons a level 7 or higher monster where you control a level 7 higher normal monster, destroy that normal summon monster. Immediately you can tell, wow, I feel bad for Thunderbolt players. Yes, if you're a Thunderbolt player this format, you're not gonna really you're not gonna do well this format. No. You're gonna have a really tough time here. So this is Konami's primary way of thinking, how do we stop Melody from completely abusing back row decks? And this is not a fine example, but this is a way for you to, get out of that. We never really had that many good trap hole effects in terms of killing off large monsters, so this is a very good way to hit off a majority of those monsters that are not 2500 attack to get with internal freeze. So if you are playing a Thunderbolt deck, please keep in consideration that this card exists, because it is going to hurt you, along with the next card here, which is Crisis at the Sacred Tower. So basically, another trap card, probably the icon of the set. When your opponent normal summons a level 7 or higher monster, change 1 face-up level 8 or lower effect monster in your opponent's field to face-down defense position. So this is basically just a Book of Moon Book of Moon for effect monsters. It has 0 effect against Parallel Gate, but what you need to know about it is that it almost solves the problem in terms of all these control decks dying off to all these loops in terms of Dark Lurker and Melody. Now, I myself would really appreciate that this exists because this gives control decks a bit more viability in terms of fighting off all these very aggressive combo decks, allowing them to slow down a little bit more and go about things their own pace without getting completely destroyed. Now, then again, this does not affect special summons, so there are only a few special summons in the game, and it does not affect fusions, but this is still a very huge thing, especially for control decks. Turning off your opponent's Dragias, Thunderbolt, all the sorts, or 7-0 Magician, I guess, sometimes, if there's no Witch. But this is going to be another way to say that Thunderbolt is more likely going to be lower in this format's tier. So keep this in mind, especially if you're planning to play something like Dark Lurker Loop or Rooker Loop, or any other deck of the sort. You will have to think about your strategies very well. Now, those were the very top cards of the entire set. Well, I'm going to have some honorable mentions as well. Our first one is Crossword Deathmatch. Basically, it is a new trap card that supports the Millennium Shield card. When your Earth attribute monster is destroyed by your opponent's attack, inflict damage to your opponent equal each Earth normal monster in your grave. Then, if you inflicted damage, destroy a face-up normal monster in the field. This isn't going to be good, I'm going to tell you that much, but it is a very interesting card, because there is a chance to be playing this in Max Raider, Parallel Gates, and then use this to destroy your opponent's normal monsters that were summoned off Parallel Gate instead of just Secret Order. So it doesn't kill off the entire problem, but it does give Earth monsters a bit of a fighting chance when it comes to fighting off these competitive decks, though it's not going to be competitive in itself. I played the deck many times before on my own or with some other people and who were directly playing the top decks, and I've even found it that even though you directly counter them, it's not going to be enough. But it is still a very interesting card in which you want to consider for most of your decks when you're building around Warrior, or just Earth attribute in general. And then finally, for our last card is another honorable mention, Security Hole. So Security Hole is our new Cyber support card. When a level 8 or lower monster declares an attack on a face-up level 7 or higher Cybers, shuffle that monster into the deck. So basically, this is going to be the way that you would out Secret Order and all the other big beaters and have a better form of protection. Since it does not destroy, it shuffles a monster back in the deck, which is the most detrimental thing you can do in a Rush Duel game. Shuffling anything back in the deck is basically like turning your entire deck off. Nothing can get it back, you have to wait for it to come back. So I'm going to be outright. Yggdrago and any other Cybers variant has been slightly dying off in the current metagame, as it is not too appealing to most people, especially when it comes to needing to set monsters if you don't have anything. Thunderbolt can obviously affect it. The current best maximum deck right now is being Dragia's Maximum, being the strongest deck right now in terms of maximums, but Yggdrago is still close to second, if not almost first, tied for first. So this is basically another way for your Yggdrago to have a bit more protection from your opponent's Parallel Gate deck, shuffling back the opponent's monsters that are protected by trap cards or well such. It's not something that's going to put Cybers to tier 1 as of right now, mostly because you still have consistent issues of needing to get Femtron in the grave, or just playing Maximum in general can cause that, but this is a very big card that you have to keep an eye out for, because it could come up and it might become a very viable card in the future, depending on how else this format changes. Well guys, I hope you all enjoyed that little video of mine. I'm very happy and excited to get started on using this new body of mine. I can't really say. So I hope you all enjoyed this little video, and if you want to see more from me, or you want to see more videos like this, go ahead, say it down below, leave a like on the video. I'm not much one of a person to say leave a like on something, but you know, if you're not in the mood to say that you like the video, or in the comments, just leave a like, I don't know. But I hope you all enjoyed, and if you want to see more, I already said what to do. Oh, see y'all Monday. Alright, bye.